in numbers in this case. This is not to mention members of our families and friends who we could influence. Usually, we speak of growing old gracefully. I know this time the theme is in the forum, rather, is aging with dignity. As you may be aware, fellow pensioners, the meaning of the word dignity has evolved with the passage of time. In the olden days, especially before 1948, the word dignity was associated with someone's merit. If someone was dignified, it meant the person had a status. The person could be a member of royalty. He could also be a member of a religious group, for example, or at least the person was a man of means, meaning ada duit lah. Just originally, the word dignity indicated that someone deserved respect because of his or her status. This is what I call ascribed status rather than achieved status. Now, history tells us the atrocities done by human beings to other fellow human beings during World War I, World War II, in an attempt to prevent the occurrence of a Third World War. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by the United Nations on the 10th of December 1948. The preamble to the declaration began as follows, and I quote, "Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world," unquote. The declaration contains 30 articles. The first article states, and I quote, "All human beings are born equal in dignity," again the word dignity comes in, "and rights," unquote. Thus, following the declaration, dignity was no longer something that people earned because of their class, race, or other advantages. Like human rights, it is something all human beings are born with. In other words, this dignity belongs to us as human beings. It is bestowed on us not bestowed on us by any authority. It should therefore not be taken away from us or violated by any authority. Now, dignity is simply then the state of being worthy of honor or respect, irrespective of our social status. Why is human dignity important in relation to human rights? Human dignity justifies human rights. When people are divided and given a value based on class, gender, religion, race, caste, and so on, it tends to produce unequal societies where discrimination runs rampant. People who are assigned higher value because of status or get preferential treatment. Those who are not within that privileged group will be either abandoned or oppressed. We have seen what happened in places where human dignity is not regarded as inherent and human rights are not universal. Whilst the privileged few in these societies progress, society as a whole suffers. More often than not, violence erupts, and if a new group takes over and also fails to recognize human rights and dignity, the cycle of disruption continues, only with different participants. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel pensioners will be in a much better position to protect and maintain their human rights and dignity if they are members of an organization. In other words, acting as a group rather than on individual basis. Recognizing human dignity and the universality of human rights so that people can be protected and respected is not only good for pensioners, but is also good for the entire world. If every human being's rights and dignity are respected, the world, in my view, will be a lot better place to live in. Thus, it will be in our individual and collective interest to realize and be aware that human rights and dignity are ours simply by being human. There are various government agencies that should be able to assist us in the event that we feel our human rights and dignity are violated. Such institutions include the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia, commonly known as Suhakam. Now, our retiree main concern, in my view, is what do we do during our retirement period? I noticed those who plan their retirement early are able to enjoy the twilight zone of their life gracefully and in comfort. Speaking for myself, our priority following retirement should be how best to live the remaining years left in us. Each of us has our own separate style and ways how best to spend our retirement life. What is preferred by one pensioner need not necessarily be attractive to others. It has been said that it is not so much the years in our lives that count, but the life in our years. In other words, the quality rather than quantity of life. Some say, try to die young as late as possible. For people who have just retired and able to secure a new income generating position, I think it would be a good idea to take it. The new job keeps you occupied physically and mentally. It is also good for your self-esteem, apart from supplementing our pension, which should be much less than our former salary. I'd like to suggest also not to transfer your properties and monies to our children while we are still alive. I know some will disagree with me, but I think in practice it's worth it. It is better to make a will. Then you have the option of changing it as and when necessary. You know, money is our last power in old age. If we are broke at old age, nobody, not even our children, may care. Instead, we become a parasite. Money buys us power when we need it most at old age. This is one of the inescapable realities of life that we have to live with. We are familiar with the saying, money is the root of all evils. However, in real life, we cannot survive without money. Without money, even places of worship cannot be built. You can't build churches, you can't build temples, and other places of worship. Kalau tidak duit, apa yang boleh buat? Money would only be bad if it is used for evil purposes. And there is a Chinese saying, it just occurred to me, there's a Chinese saying, the dead man's eyes open at the sight of money. And I think the former Prime Minister who is now in jail said, money is king. And I think he's correct. I have met some pensioners who tend to be grumpy and regretting for not capitalizing the opportunities while they were still working. Now, regretting the past and worrying about the future, to me, is a useless emotion. It is an exercise in futility. No amount of regret can bring back the past. The past is gone forever and will not come back, whatever. Similarly, no amount of worry can wipe out tomorrow's pain and sorrow. Regret and worry weaken our ability to face present problems and challenges. As for the future, it is not here yet. There is also no certainty that it will be ours. Some people say, let me sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. The only time we own actually is right now. Next moment we may just drop dead. That is looking at it realistically. Now, but it is also important not regretting the past and not worrying about the future does not mean we don't plan. We reap tomorrow what we sow today. If we do not sow today, we got nothing to reap tomorrow. That means planning is different from worrying about the future. To me, that is how I look at reality. From my observation, planning for retirement involves physical, mental, and financial preparation. During the mid-60s, I used to see government retirees gathered outside the treasury. About 24th or 25th of every month, they all kumpul together, waiting for the retirees to really receive the pension in cash. So they are tunggu sana lang. It occurred to me then, as I passed them, that if I live long enough, I will join the group. It triggered the thought that one day we are retired. What has the reality, another reality, what has a beginning must have an end. My first boss was a British expatriate officer. He was a retiree from the Malayan civil service. Then, okay, I asked him, Mr. Chapman, can you advise me how to retire gracefully and comfortably? And he told me, Simon, They will have financial problem after you retire. So I always I remember that one. And my father also used to give very good advice. Kalau kau dapat gaji RM1, jangan belanja habis, dia bilang. Sekurang-kurangnya simpan sikit lah, tapi jangan habis. So I remember those advice until today. Of course, as I found out, it was easier said than done. Now, a wife of a retired army general once told me, her husband, after 1 week of retirement, always pakai dia punya uniform, military uniform. Dia general. 1 minggu tiap-tiap hari. So the wife had to remind him, you sudah besar, jangan tak payah lagi, tiada lagi pejabat. So tak payah pakai itu uniform. Unfortunately, the general, I knew him personally, he did not live long after retirement. So I think this indicates that some people more prepared than others for retirement. So as we grow older, our need change. But the need for good health, to me, is by far the more important. And it has been said, health is wealth. Now, speaking of health, let me share with you a short story about this old man. He wants to live long, he wants to live healthy life. So, naturally, he went to see the doctor. He asked, "Doctor, can you advise me, what do I do to live happily and healthy and long life?" Doctor said, "Old man, you need to do 3 things. First, you need to stop your drinking. Second, you need to stop your smoking. Third, easy on sex and womanizing." So, after 1 year, he went back to the doctor. Doctor asked, "Have you stopped smoking?" And he said, "Yes." "How did you do it?" "Willpower." "What about drinking?" "Also I stopped." "How did you do it?" "Willpower." "What about sex and womanizing?" "I also stopped." "How did you do it?" "Power failure." All right. Now, no, I'm just about to finish now. As we all know and remember, the civil service also is a very big organization, and Malaysia is one of the bloated, they call it the word bloated civil service, especially the federal level. Now, and because it is big, it is strong. Because macam giant lah, besar badan, kuat. But also because it is big, also very clumsy, very, susah mau bergerak, walaupun kuat. So then also very impersonal. Once you retire, you are forgotten because there are so many there. So I think this is for those for those who are still in the service, this will make you think that you need to prepare psychologically, mentally, financially, and physically. Things like this. So you need to be ready. If you are not ready, you go, not after retirement, you will disappear. All right. So I hope before I stop, I have been thinking about this. I hope some business people, some retired people who have become good businessmen could start what I call to build a suitable retirement complex for pensioners. I think there is a felt need for it now, particularly for pensioners yang bersendiri yang berharga yang tiada family. You know, I think such a project would be quite viable. Then finally, let me finish by reminding ourselves that life is too short to be anything but healthy and happy. I like to quote him now. William Shakespeare once said, I always feel happy. You know why? Because I do not expect anything from anyone. Expectations hurt. Life is short. So, love your life. Be happy and keep smiling. Just live for yourself, and before you speak, listen. Before you write, think. Before you spend, earn. Before you pray, forgive. Before you hurt, feel. Before you hate, love. Before you quit, try. Before you die, live. Personally, I am guided by the message in the following quotation. For yesterday is but a dream. Tomorrow is only a vision. Today, well lived, makes yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. So, my parting remark to my fellow pensioners, I wish you nothing but the best during our retirement life. Live well now, as if there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow may not be ours. To fellow pensioners from outside Sabah, have a pleasant stay in Sabah, and I wish you all a safe journey home. And with these remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I have much pleasure in declaring the forum on aging with dignity officially open. Thank you for your attention.